Hello everybody, HillBilly here. Hey, in this video I thought I'd do a little embossing with my new Craftool Pro hand press. Just got this recently. Pretty awesome machine. But I've got a small project that I wanted to do. And I've got some leather here. I was going to use some of my letters. This is some 1-inch letters from Tandy. I wanted to emboss a few lines across this, and I thought I'd share with you. So let's get started. Alright, I believe I've got about 5 ounce veg tan leather here, and I want to actually put Cobra class 4 across here. And I was going to try and line things up without doing a lot of drawing, so I'll use some different items like this little, I don't know, doodad thing with the grid on it. That kind of might help me a little bit. And then, of course, a ruler. But anyways, I want to start with this, some 1-inch. And I'll, these are just some 1-inch letters from Tandy. I've got a little ram's foot mounted on this. And by the way, the bottom of this table will actually move. As you can see, just tighten this up to give you a little bit of a back on it to slide your leather or whatever you might be embossing on here, paper. People do other things too, but in this case it's just going to be this. It's going to be like a little sign for me. Anyways, so I'm going to start with the letter C, and you'll see that the bottom of these have got a small little letter on here. And then you want to make sure and verify that it is the letter C. Now I've already adjusted this press. There is a small adjustment here. This whole shaft here turns, and you do it according to the thickness of your leather, and you want to make sure that you get a good impression on it. But anyways, I'm going to loosen this base up so that I can move it. I want to get the end of this, so I'm going to bring this down, hold it, and I want to be about 1 inch from the side of this, and I want to be about 3/4 of an inch, which looks just about there, and about 1 inch here. I'm going to reach under here and give this a good tight snug. And of course we'll measure twice then. Now, there you go. Now the other thing I'm going to throw this little grid thing here because I know it's square, and I'm going to hold it to the back of this. Let's throw it over here. And then I'm going to make sure that the edge of my stamp here is square, because this will turn. As you'll see that it turns a little bit. So we'll make sure that we've got it square. Looks good. We've got that tight, the base. And then we're going to use the lever. Grab this and hold it. And I'm going to press it all the way down until it locks. Now again, I did the adjustment on this for it to come down and put just about the right amount of pressure on it. Leave it set second. And I am doing this dry. Now there's a lot of people that'll probably wet this just like if you were tooling leather. But in this case I'm going to do it dry. So you'll get to see what it is. So we're going to pull the letter C out. Now we're going to kind of set it back into these impressions. We're going to set them back down into this impressions, and that's going to give us a little bit of alignment for the next letter. We've got the letter O. Again, remember, on the back side of this is O, and let's verify that our stamp is O. But trust me, I've did it a few times, and I thought for sure I had the right letter in there, and I grabbed the wrong one, and it makes for kind of a silly little mistake. I'm going to make sure my leather is square off the back and that I'm butted right against the other one here as I'm holding it. And then I'm going to give it the press, come down, lock it. I'll go ahead and pick up my letter C. And then pull it back up. As you can see, we've got CO. All right, on to the next one. Again, I'm going to take my letter O, stick it next to it, and here's B. The letter B, verify it. Now remember that this will turn a little bit, so every time hold your previous letter down into its little spot because we've already got it square. Bring down your handle. Button it up just a little bit there. And give it a good press down. I'm going to remove my letter O. Put it to the side. Now, I'm sure somebody will give me a comment on about the fact that I'm doing these dry, but that's how I want to do it for this particular project anyways. So there's the letter B. On to the next one. As you can see that this will just continue to go, and of course we weren't doing all the videoing. Probably can move just a little bit faster. Push down on that and lift up. I'm going to do that again. And here's the letter A. I'm making a little plaque for a project that I did a little bit earlier. It's not really a plaque, it's just a sign that's going to be on the front of a sewing machine cover that I had did for my Cobra Class 4. It's a large leather sewing machine. Man, it's dusty around here. Alright, pulled the letter A out. And I'm looking at it now. Wow. You know, the R doesn't look quite as impressed as the rest of them into the leather. That's simple enough. I'm going to get the letter R again. Put it right back up in here. It's not a big deal. And I'm going to kind of hold it up against there. Pull down my handle lightly. And I'm going to, before I get into the actual pressing it down, I'm going to kind of wiggle my leather so that it sets right up into that foot. I feel it's there. I'm going to press it down all the way again. Hold it just a little bit longer. Kind of impresses that in there pretty good. Okay, and we'll pull it back up there. There you go. I think that looks a lot better. Okay, now I've got that line. Now the next line I'm going to do with some 3/4 inch letters, and it's going to spell or it's going to, yeah, I'm going to spell out class and then 4, the number 4, 3/4 letter. I've got the measurements already because I kind of pre-measured a lot of this stuff out. But this is the thing, this platform on this hand press, very nice, great idea, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that have come up with some different modifications, maybe a bigger table, whatever. But bottom line is, no matter what you do, doesn't matter. This here has only got so much room between the back of this and to the center of this arbor press here. And you're not going to get anything. So if I wanted something to be right here at the bottom of this leather, it's going to be very difficult. I'd be bending it or whatever. In my case, what I thought about doing is I'm going to start over here. Now, when I did these here, the letter I put right here at this point, facing me. I'm going to go upside down. And I'm going to start over here again and just do all my letters in the backward thing. We're not really backwards, but the letter C on this, for the letter C, the little marking. I don't know if you can see it right here. There's a little letter marked on all of them. Instead of putting it towards me, I'm going to put it away from me, coming back into the throat. So the letter C is here on the back. Alright, now again, I'm going to measure, and I want about 1 inch to the start of that. Okay, and then I want about 3/4. Let's tighten that up so that we can get a better look at it here. Yeah, that looks good. I don't have quite enough hands to hold all this stuff. Alright, that looks like that's in spot there. Now, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's make sure that we bring this little grid plate over here. Because again, I want to make sure that this square die is squared off to the back. And I'm just using this little grid because I know it's square. Let's give my die there a little. And it looks pretty good. You know, I'm going to measure one more time before I get going here. I like that. And I like that. Okay, all the measurements are correct. Things are tight. Let's go ahead and we're going to give it a press down. Wait a few seconds. I'm sure if you did this with it wet, you cased the leather and stuff, probably wouldn't have to hold it as long. Now that really did some a little deeper there. So I might later just go back through and adjust this a little bit down, just a tad more, and actually make the impressions on those equal to that. But anyways, I'm going to continue to go here. So I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to set it down on my impressions. I'm going to get the next letter and make sure again, I'm going to tell you multiple times, to verify that that's the letter that you need. Now the cool thing is here again. You've got it up against the back of the fence here. Hold your little piece down, or your previous stamp down in its hole, and bring this right over to it and make sure it's square with it. Because you can kind of look right down here between the two, and it's more than square enough by doing that. Nope, that kind of lifted a little bit. Press down and then back up. There's our letter L. I'm going to continue to go through the same process over and over until we're finished. Here's the letter A. Verify the letter goes to the back again. And as you can kind of see that the whole little process of this is not too awful bad. This one's kind of a simple, just a 2-line. Once we get done embossing all this, wow, look at that leather, kind of stuck right in there. That's a pretty good emboss job, huh? Alright, pull our letter A out. Here's our S. Again, put it right down. Okay. Now I got that. Excuse me. I've been fighting a little bit of a flu lately here. Alright, now we got a little dilemma. Not really a dilemma, but I was thinking, alright, I just pressed the letter S. Well, in class, there's 2 S's. I don't have another S to pull out and put in here to line up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay that right here. And this is one of those pens from Tandy that has the little silver marking on it that supposedly wipes off pretty good. So I'm going to hold down here and I'm just going to put an ever so slight little mark there. So now that I know how far the spacing is from this letter to that letter. So I'm going to bring my handle down. Pay attention to everything here being on the fence, on the back of the fence. Oh, moved it. I see my little mark there. I don't know if you guys have got a good view on that or not, but alrighty. Got it up against there, and here goes nothing. Let's see. Let it set for a second. Aha! There you go. Yes, class. Cobra class. Okay. Doesn't really matter about this being in there this time, because I'm going to take the number 4. It'll look reversed to you. And I've got the little marking down in here. And I'm going to put that up in there because it's a Cobra class 4. But I'm going to bring this one down. Again, it's against the fence. And then what I do with my, I'm going to bring it over to where I have about an inch of offset, which is real close to that. And then I'm going to move it over just about right there. Okay. And then I'm going to press it down. After you get used to one of these things, boy, you could really do a lot of pressing. But it would be awesome for belts. This thing would be super great for belts. You could set it up, you could get your names, you know, George, Henry, Loretta, whatever the names might be. You could just go down through with large letters and smaller letters. Heck, you could probably get the 1/4 inch and then the little 3/8 ones or what have you, and just do some really cool stuff. And then of course they have 3D and 2D stamps that you could put on belts, and this would be great. Anyways, there's the Cobra Class 4. As you all get the idea of how this actually operates, I think I'll end up going back through and do a little adjustment on this and make these just a little darker. And then eventually I'm going to round the corners off. I'll do a stitching line around here and maybe a little tooling around there to create a pretty nice little sign. Alright, I hope you all enjoyed. If you have, hey, give us a subscription. And then maybe give us a comment. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Hope you had a good one.